On January 20th, 2022, Riot Games released patch 12.2 for League of Legends. In that patch, Shen lost 1% max HP damage on each of his empowered Twilight Assault attacks. This seemingly minor nerf became the catalyst for the eventual ruination of my favorite champion in League of Legends. This is the story of how Riot ruined Shen. Before we begin, I need to ask something from you, dear viewer. I am asking you to stop playing Shen. Since Riot refuses to listen to the Shen community, I have decided to take matters into my own hands. I am organizing the first ever champion-specific boycott in League of Legends. I am recruiting every Shen player that feels unhappy about the state of the champion to join me in this boycott. My whole YouTube channel is dedicated to this one champion, but I will not play a single game of Shen until Riot fixes him. Later in this video, I will give a detailed rundown of how Riot can make Shen more fun for everyone, including Shen's opponents. As long as Riot refuses to listen to the Shen community, I hope you will stand strong and refuse to play our beloved champion. Shen's pick rate is currently 2.4%, and I don't know how many of those players I can reach with this video, but we will bring that pick rate down, mark my words. It is Riot's game, so they are free to balance it as they wish, but I will not play a single game of Shen in his current state. So, what exactly is wrong with Shen? To understand this, we must take a look back at Shen over the past few years. In the past, Shen was an early game fighter who could gather a lead by bullying the opponent in top lane. He could then translate that lead into other lanes by using his ultimate, Stand United. Shen has always had a strong early game, but he has never been a scaling champion. If you fell behind on Shen, you would be punished by the opponents and be forced to play a very supportive playstyle for the rest of the game. This felt justified, as you had failed your job as an early game character. A lot of Shen players, including myself obviously, found this playstyle of early game kill aggression and proactive map control extremely fun. Fast forward to today, Shen is now a solo lane support who presses R on his teammates and activates Radiant Virtue to heal them. To my understanding, the best way to play Shen in high elo right now is to not interact with your lane opponent, farm under tower, and hope that you have a good player on your team who you can support. It's better to take teleport than ignite, because you have no kill pressure in top lane anyways, and you need teleport to protect your tower platings. It's better to build Radiant Virtue and Redemption, because healing your teammates is more impactful than keeping yourself alive or doing more damage. It's better to play passively. It's better to not have fun. So, how did we get here? I will not pretend to understand all the underlying factors behind Shen's downfall, as League of Legends is too complex a system for me. I will, however, highlight what I believe are the two main reasons for Shen feeling unfun. Reason number 1. Direct nerfs to aggression. With the exception of patch 12.15, where Shen received a buff to his energy regeneration, the Eye of Twilight has suffered 3 nerfs in a row. In patch 11.20, Shen's passive shield amount was reduced. In patch 12.2, Shen's empowered Q damage was reduced. And in the infamous durability patch 12.10, Shen's passive and ultimate shields were nerfed. Although warranted, these nerfs have progressively made Shen's combat capability weaker. The worst offender with respect to making Shen less fun to play has been the empowered Q nerf, which reduced skill expression and narrowed the gap between bad and good Shen players. I believe that the other 2 nerfs were completely justified within the context of the game at the time. Riot made a systematic move to nerf shielding abilities in the durability update, and Shen just happened to be one of the many targets, so I'm not complaining about that change. What I am complaining about is the trend of reducing Shen's aggression and proactive playmaking ability in exchange for a more supportive and, in my opinion, boring playstyle. An additional example of this trend was the recent change to minion targeting AI, which inadvertently killed Shen's tower crash taunt maneuver an advanced trading pattern to punish opponents under tower. Reason number 2. Items are too impactful. In modern League of Legends, champion strength is largely defined by the strength of their best items, especially mythic items. This trend has made Shen less fun to play for me personally, as I believe his strongest item to be Radiant Virtue. I don't believe in judging items by their win rate due to unavoidable biases, but Radiant Virtue is Shen's highest win rate first item, in case you were wondering. Nobody is forcing me to build Radiant Virtue and other support items like Redemption, but I have a hard time building other items when I know that I'm hurting my team's chances of winning by doing so. Item strength hurts Shen in another way as well, because he is a low economy champion by nature. Shen's kit has no wave clear, and he's forced to sacrifice his tower platings to use his ultimate ability. If you go to a website like League of Graphs and check Shen's matchup data, there is not a single matchup where Shen has a gold lead at 15 minutes on average. In the rare matches where I do get ahead, my lead is gone by the time the opponent reaches their first item. If the enemy bruiser purchases Divine Sunderer or Blade of the Ruined King for example, Shen cannot 1v1 them ever, no matter the lead. This once again reinforces the passive, non-interactive gameplay that is much too common for Shen currently. These are some of the reasons why I'm personally not enjoying Shen at the moment. Next, I will list my proposed changes to make Shen more fun. I am fully aware that I'm not a game designer, and playing one champion in one video game for thousands of hours does not qualify me to make decisions for a billion-dollar company. However, I believe that it is easiest for me to express the pain points of playing Shen through proposing concrete changes. I will start by listing changes that I believe would make Shen more fun to play against. These tend to be nerfs from the perspective of gameplay balance.
But wait, what's this? Riot has just announced that they will be removing mythic items from League of Legends in January 2024. This will obviously have a large impact on item balance as a whole. However, unless a systematic nerf to item strength is planned, I doubt that the aforementioned pain points will be fixed completely. We will have to wait and see what the impact of this change is. Repeated buffs to other top laners and the nerfs to Shen's aggression will still remain a problem for Shen, despite these good changes to the item system.
Nerf number 1. Introduce a delay to Stand United's shield. This change helps with the common frustration of Shen saving low HP targets from death without warning. The opponent should have an indicator that an enemy will receive a 1000 health shield soon. This is in line with Riot's addition of incoming healing being shown on HP bars. Nerf number 2. Decrease Shen's taunt duration at early ranks. This change would make Shen more fun to face by introducing more counterplay to early trades. Shen's Shadow Dash currently taunts for 1.5 seconds regardless of ability rank. I believe that the taunt duration should scale up with respect to ability rank. Nerf number 3. Decrease non-empowered Q damage to champions. Currently, Shen deals a fair amount of damage with his non-empowered Q. Enemies should be rewarded for successfully dodging or outspacing the Spirit Blade drag-through. Decreasing the non-empowered Q damage to minions would only hurt Shen's non-existent wave clear even further, thus the nerf only to damage to champions. Next, I will continue to changes that I believe would make Shen more fun to play. These tend to be buffs in nature, which can be counterbalanced with the aforementioned nerfs. Buff number 1. Increase empowered Q damage. Shen should be rewarded for good blade placement, and thus empowered Q needs to do more damage. There are multiple ways of implementing said damage, but one interesting option would be to add AD scaling in one form or another to his empowered Q. This change would also add build variety, which personally I find to be one of Shen's most fun aspects. Buff number 2. Fix W bugs. Shen's W is one of the most inconsistent abilities in the game. It is unique compared to Jax's Counter-Strike, Fiora's Parry, or Teemo's Blind because it does not actually block auto attacks. It only reduces their damage to 0 and mitigates certain on-hit effects. Or at least that's how it should work. Currently, if Shen has a shield, for example from his passive, His W will not block damage at all. This is a well-known bug which was introduced sometime in the past 2 years, but Riot has refused to fix it since its origin. There are countless other inconsistencies with Shen's W, the most baffling of which is the fact that Fiora can now proc vitals through Shen's block. My bottom line is this: if I use an 18-second cooldown ability to block one auto attack, I would like for that auto attack to be blocked. Buff number 3. Incentivize ranking up W. Shen's late game is non-existent, in part due to his E and W abilities having little to no scaling. Putting a point into W simply reduces its cooldown by 1.5 seconds. By adding additional ability rank scaling to this ability, Riot could smooth out Shen's power curve and give him some extra power in the late game. One idea is to increase the block effect's duration, or to give the ability a passive component, which could grant, for example, armor and magic resistance to Shen. I have many more ideas on making Shen more fun and would love to elaborate further on this topic, but I sense that the viewer has gotten my point by now. I also predict a certain type of response to this video. Some people will say that I'm a delusional one-trick who just wants buffs for his champion. Some people will say that I am complaining for no reason and should just adapt to the way the champion is now. Some people will say that I am just washed and Shen is still in a good state. To all those people, I say this. I played Shen to Challenger in 2017 when no one else played him. I played Shen to Challenger in 2020 when he was in meta and overpowered. I played Shen to Challenger in 2022 when he was so bad in top lane that mid lane became his best role. I have played Shen to Challenger every single year after his rework. And you know why I did it? Because the champion was fun to play. That's all I ever cared about. I have probably spent more time developing Shen builds than anyone else on this planet, because he has always been fun to play. I love this champion, and I want people to experience how fun Shen can be. But that will not happen in his current state. So if you care about Shen, you will join me in this boycott and stop playing him. Now, it's your move, Riot.